Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are thrilled this evening to be celebrating not only Shabbat, but also another installment of our annual Israel Scholar in Residence Weekend, sponsored by our Ahavat Medinat Yisrael Fund, a fund designed to foster engagement with our love of the state of Israel. Throughout this Shabbat, not just tonight, but into tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening as well, we are thrilled to have the opportunity to learn with and from Rabbi Ayala Ronen Samuels, the chair of Maram, the Council of Reformed Rabbis in Israel. We welcome Rabbi Samuels and her husband Ami to Charlotte and to Temple Bethel. We hope you have a wonderful time with us this weekend, and we are really looking forward to learning with you. While Israel is always on the hearts and minds of our people, of course, since October 7th, Israel, the Israeli people, and all those affected by this conflict have been on our minds, in our conversations, and in our prayers much more prominently and consistently. These have been a gut-wrenching few months as we pray fervently for the release of the remaining hostages, for the end of violence and loss of life, and the eradication of hate, whether it's anti-Semitism or Islamophobia. Ahavat Medinat Yisrael, love of the state of Israel. What does it really mean to love someone or something, and especially a country? Because love is not only the butterflies and rainbows, the joy and the celebration. It's also the struggle. It's engaging in difficult conversations, confronting harsh realities, showing up in moments when the pain is the deepest and the stakes are highest. And I know that Rabbi Samuels will accompany us on this exploration of what it means to love and care for Israel in the past, present, and future. Before we dive into our Shabbat worship, we take a few moments to make sure that there are no strangers in our midst. So first, I'll invite everyone to please turn towards the back of the sanctuary and say Shabbat Shalom to all those who are joining us online. Shabbat Shalom, and also Rabbi Clears. Shabbat Shalom. And invite you to turn to your neighbor to the north, the south, the east, and west, and introduce yourself and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. We continue with our Shabbat worship by welcoming in Shabbat. It's my honor to invite the leaders who established our Ahavat Medinat Yisrael Fund, Emily and Sam Zimmern, to the bima to light our candles and recite Kiddush, bringing in the warmth and the joy and the sweetness of Shabbat.
Mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Baruch אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת חיים
As we celebrate and welcome the joy of Shabbat, we take a moment to celebrate as one community the joys that we have experienced in our lives, whether it's a big joy or something small or exciting. I invite you to raise your hand and share so we can celebrate with you. Yes, Fred. So say it one more time. 97 years old. Ad me'ah ve'esrim until 120. Mazel tov. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Welcome. Where are you visiting from? Where in New Jersey? Aberdeen, sure. Lovely. I like that you knew where my next line of questions were going to go and just anticipated. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Well, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Yeah, Robin. Yeah, now come back. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So welcoming new voters, and thank you for working our elections. It's really very, very important. Really. Yes, very exciting. Yes, Fred.
Last week was our first grandson's first birthday.
Your first grandson's first birthday. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Yes, Jane. Well, we at Temple Bethel do not endorse any candidates. We are very proud of our community members. Yes. You sold your father's car. Mazel tov. That's a big deal. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Mazel tov, your 35th anniversary. It's many, many more happy years together. Absolutely. Yeah. Your 24-year-old car passed inspection. Wow, that is a big deal. Yes, Mindy. Tomorrow's your granddaughter's 4th birthday? It's a great birthday.
Tomorrow is Rabbi Ernheim's birthday.
Is that good? Yeah, so that's a good birthday. Yes, Rabbi Nichols.
I have a brand new quilt in my office gifted to me by my mother and made by my mother.
It's
and
gorgeous.
You can all make meetings with me to come and see it.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Yeah, I was very impressed by the Hebrew writing on the book. Very impressive quilt work. Yeah. Yes, one more. Mm-hmm. Well, we're glad you got here safe. And Bezrat Hashem, we hope that you get home safe as well. Absolutely. Well, for all of the blessings in our lives, we recite the words of Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו בקימה והגיענו לזמן הזה.
We welcome Shabbat by greeting the Sabbath bride with the words of L'cha Dodi. When we reach the final verse, I'll invite everyone to rise and face the entrance to formally welcome Shabbat. But in the meantime, we'll continue with the words of L'cha Dodi.
L'cha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך ומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה בואי חלה. לך דודי Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha Bechol levavcha ubchol nafshecha ubchol me'otecha dehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam Beshivtecha bebeitecha uvlechtecha baderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihyot bachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like you, O God? Miriam cries out upon witnessing the miracle of the splitting of the sea, enabling the Israelites to pass to freedom. What we would call a miracle. A miracle. A moment that defies our expectations and leads to a better tomorrow. So what is the miracle that we are searching for today? Perhaps it's not the outstretched arm of God as it was on the shores of the Sea of Reeds, but instead the outstretched arm of a neighbor, maybe even of someone we disagree with, the outstretched arm of the other. Reaching out not necessarily to find agreement, but rather understanding, peace, and respect for one another as human beings. The real miracle, the question at the center, is what kind of strength, what kind of courage and bravery do we each need to reach our hand back out as well? Living a full, vibrant life cannot happen unless we feel safe, physically, emotionally, psychologically. Every night we offer the words of Hashkivenu, praying that every human being enjoys that sense of safety that enables us to live fully. So in addition to it being Shabbat, our weekly holiday, today is also an international holiday. It is March 8th, and it is International Women's Day. And it's a particular privilege to be leading worship this evening alongside our all-female clergy team, myself, Rabbi Nichols, Cantor Roskin, Rabbi Samuels. Caleb, you're doing your best, an ally, thank you. But it truly is incredible, right? It's amazing that these days, most people, most of our kids, don't bat an eyelash at the idea of female clergy. But this, of course, was not always the reality. And it didn't just happen out of nowhere, but rather from the tireless work of advocates and allies who sacrificed so much so that women, in the Jewish spheres and beyond, are able to live full lives, unhampered from opportunities because of their gender. When we, as Reformed Jews, recite the words, oh, it's okay, let him hang out, there's a little ladybug. When we, as Reformed Jews, recite the words of the Amidah, we offer the words of the Ahavat Medinat Yisrael, a prayer recognizing God's special relationship with our forefathers and our foremothers. The women of our tradition, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, are listed prominently alongside Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, growing up in the Reform movement, I didn't know an Amidah that did not include the Imahot, that did not include our foremothers. But it was an addition, a choice that the Reformers made to grant our foremothers the same kavod, the same respect as our forefathers. Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. As we recite these names in our Amidah this evening, I invite us to remember that this was not how our prayer always sounded. We are so fortunate to be in a moment when the exclusion of women's voices from our liturgy, our text, and from our leadership, and from our bima would be unthinkable. And that we would not be here today if it were not for the courage of those who saw injustice in the world and took action to correct it. Please rise.
And the light וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Take a few moments in silence to listen to our hearts and to offer up the prayers of our souls.
invite you to join me in these words of a prayer for the state of Israel. Makor HaChaim, source of life. Makor Shel Tikva, source of hope. We gather together with faith and hope to pray for peace and for the safety of the people of Israel. Protect us in our time of need. Soften our hearts against indifference. Open our eyes to humanity in all. Guide our thoughts toward compassion. Bring healing to the wounded, strength to the mourners, courage to those facing adversity, wisdom to the leaders, and ensure the safe return of those unjustly held. Fill the world with your light, O God, and spread over us the shelter of your peace. Having offered this prayer for the state of Israel, we turn to a prayer for all of those in need of healing, those in Israel, those here in our community. We especially think of those who will be appearing on the screen behind me, those whom we know to be in need of healing this Shabbat. And we also invite you to share out loud the name of anyone you are thinking about who is in need of healing this Shabbat, whether it's healing of the body or healing of the mind. God, bring healing to all those we've named out loud and those we've named in our hearts as we share these words of blessing. It is now my honor to introduce our speaker. Rabbi Ayala Ronen Samuels is the founding rabbi of Kehilat Tfilat Ha'adam, a growing Reform community in Caesarea, Israel. She also is the chair of Maram, the Council of Reform Rabbis in Israel, and has been since 2020. And I can tell you, just from having spoken with her and heard from other rabbis in Israel, it is a hard position to have been in these last several months. Rabbi Samuels completed her rabbinical education and ordination at Hebrew Union College, as the rest of your clergy did as well, but in the Israeli rabbinical training program. But before that, had a real career in leadership training and education and community development with a BA in Jewish thought and psychology from Haifa University, a PhD in Jewish education from the Jewish Theological Seminary, and really has just used all of those skills to grow a beautiful rabbinate on the Carmel coast. Rabbi Samuels grew up on Kibbutz Shamir in the Upper Galilee, and as you heard, she is joined by her husband Ami, and not joined today, but they do have 3 adult sons. So welcome, and we're going to actually ask you to speak from here. Thank you,
Erev Tov. Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. So nice to be here. Thank you for coming to pray and also to accept me amongst you and to hear me. And Tracy's going to help me, right? Thank you very much. So it has been very difficult 5 months. And a lot of chaos, a lot of uncertainty, great difficulty to define what is going on and understand. And we all need a story, a narrative, to be able to make sense in reality. And I'm going to try and tell the story from my perspective, but using different voices and weaving different voices and a few images to try and tell the story of what is happening in Israel beyond the news stories, beyond the numbers, beyond what is going on. So click for the next slide. Oh, I don't know that you'll be able to notice the details, but this is a very powerful image. It's the map of Israel. The pain map. It was created by one of Israel's wonderful caricature artist, Shoshke Engelmeyer. And what you see are different areas. Let's see. We can't make it larger, right? Okay. We have the valley of anxiety, and we have the mountain of worry, and we have sea of sorrow, etc., etc. Different regions, and each of them is defined by one of the difficult emotions that we were swept in as of October 7th. And we have all experienced, and I know many of you, if not all of you, have shared these feelings of fear, of worry, of anxiety. What am I doing wrong? I'm okay? Okay. So let's see the next image. This was actually taken in the new National Library in Jerusalem. A beautiful building, by the way. Next time you come to Israel, make sure you visit Jerusalem and go see the new Sifriya Leumit, the new National Library. And they have created there rows and rows of chairs with names of the people that were kidnapped and a book that they thought is right for this person. Okay, I think there's another one, another image like that, or yeah. Here you can see, I think one of the families that got most famous for the worst is the Bibas family, with the two, the toddler, the baby, Kfir and Ariel. That we don't know what has happened to them, but nothing good has been going on. The Gingis, the red-headed kids, and even they got the book. And the whole story of the kidnapped citizens, civilians, men, women, aging people, babies, children, goes against any concept of what reality is. What is reasonable and what is beyond reason. What we expect and what we have no means of understanding. And the story of this young family, the father, the mother, and the babies, toddler and a baby, is an example of how an image of what reality is has shredded and collapsed and does not exist. And I think we all, but definitely people in Israel, have been struggling to make sense of the new reality. And we still are, by the way. And I think it creates the idea that what was, what has been, is no more. That things have changed dramatically, and things have changed dramatically. I want to agree with that, and I want to say something very fundamental changed. Yet, we have been in very difficult situations before. We have had terrible times before, definitely as the Jewish people, but also in the state of Israel, the young state of Israel. And I've chosen two images. Let's see the next one, that actually are for my private album. What you see is from my kibbutz in '67, and well, it's hard to see, but there's a group of young children where I think we're third, fourth grade there. This is my age group in the kibbutz and our teacher. And we look at the kibbutz that has changed completely because of the war. That has all been dug in trenches and people sitting, and this is the entrance to a shelter. We've lived in that shelter only 6 days. Felt very long, but it was a very short war. And there is an historical sense that we need to remember that the war, the crisis that is currently the crisis we're going through now is terrible, but it's not the first time. And we have endured very difficult situations before. Can you please give me the second one? This is I think it's a funny image. This is a picture of the people of the kibbutz. They're not even young, all of them. And they have some kind of weapons, and they're there to protect their home. There weren't enough soldiers to protect every kibbutz and every moshav. And the civilians had to protect their own homes. And this is something that we also experience now. You can't expect the army to be everywhere and protect everything. Of course, you can take it one step further, that we don't want to go there, they're having too many weapons, etc. But there's a strong sense that the war is not at the border. It can come to our home. So this situation is very, very difficult, and it has been. But we need to remember, we still have a wonderful country. What do we do now? So I want to show you the map of hope. The map of hope. I can't read from here. I'm going to show. So we have the springs of healing. We have a sea of possibility. We have a sea of possibilities. We have the valley of volunteering. We have the way of moving medicines around. We have families hosting. We have hills of compassions. We have the county of helping with homework. We have a region of assisting in picking tomatoes. And we have like roots, like a grove of donating blood, etc., etc. And what Shushka was trying to do in creating this map is to show, is to give a visual expression to how much civil society, all civil society from all corners of the country have come up, have awakened, and found ways to give. And it had two reasons. One was that there was a huge need. There were needs that were unprecedented and could not have been met by any prepared organization, because there was no organization that was prepared for that. Let me just give you an example. The army has tripled within a day. So if every one of the incoming soldiers got a weapon, that was wonderful. But then that person also had to have food and water and a blanket, and then later a warm coat and socks and a trinket. What do you call this that you tie on an arm that has been injured? Tourniquet. Toda rabba. Tourniquet. I know someone who's been doing doing huge effort to get money to buy tourniquets for the incoming soldiers. Not to mention all the people that were evacuated from their homes and needed needed place, needed equipment. So one thing was there were huge needs. On the other hand, there was this terrible need to do something, because we all felt so helpless. We all knew that we failed as a state, as a society, as an army. We failed. And we didn't want to fail anymore. So we were looking to do something, whatever it was. Give me something to do and I'll do. And there was a huge, I'm sure you've heard about it, huge grassroots voluntary flat, not even a movement, a camaraderie, a sense of doing something for others and it's still going on. Just as in a tiny example, I am very busy with my rabbinical assignments that obviously it's not that I had less to do as a rabbi once the war broke out. I had more to do, and I also felt I have to do something. So I still get bundles of dirty laundry of people from the north and the south that have come to and stay in houses in Caesarea, but also in the hotel. We have the Dan Hotel in Caesarea. And there are no laundromats, and there's no laundromat in a hotel for the people who come and stay in the rooms, right? So someone comes, collects the laundry, dirty laundry, divides it in people's home. We do the laundry, we fold it, and they get it back. Not an important job by no means, but it me feels that I do something. So the next slide shows some of the things that have been happening. It's called the 7 signs of hope. So we've seen immediate and massive reserve mobilization of society. We've seen civil society coming together to compensate for the government lack of doing. And this is also, I don't want to get into that, but you all know that our government was very late, still is very late in reshaping itself and reorganizing itself to meet the needs of the country, of the state. A third sign is the role of women, both in the Oref. The Oref, this is Oref, or my my back neck. How do you say it in English? Is there a word for the back neck? The nape? This is the nape? I thought that was the nape. Okay, thank you. The nape. We use it to talk about people that are not in the battle, but behind, and all that work was mostly done by women. Mostly men went on reserve duty. So the women were left with keeping the society, the children, the workplace, the home. And also, as I'm sure you've read and heard about the important and very new role that women soldiers have taken this war. And this is the first time that we've seen women's soldiers really doing battle, and what a great job they did. And it's a change in how we can talk about why women can choose. Thank you very much, Rabbi Lexi, for your word. Women can choose what they want to do also in the army. And the fourth, the shared society. I spoke about the Jewish people respond. The response of the Jewish people has been amazing. And I know there are people here like Emily who have come on solidarity missions. I have spoken to 4 solidarity missions, hosted one in our synagogue. It's amazing how important that is, because the sense of being isolated, of misjudged, of not being understood is so strong that when people come from abroad and say, we're here to show love and support, we're here to show that we are one people, this is incredibly important. But also, the amount of donations that came to help, the support, the political support is incredible. The spiritual and religious responses, not going to go into this now, I may talk about some of it tomorrow. And of course, the hope and the reorganization of political thinking, of new political initiatives, of how we should respond to the new reality. So all these are signs of hope. And I want to look at a couple of verses from our portion of the week of Vayakel. Thank you, Tracy. So only last week, on Parashat Ki Tisa, the people of Israel have despaired. Moses was gone, he has disappeared. They went to Aaron, and we have the golden calf. The biggest crisis in relationship of the new Jewish people and God and Elohim. And this week, they're donating and building the tabernacle, the Ohel Moed. And look what is going on. Everyone is coming to do what they have to do in order to bring everything together, all the equipment, to find all the necessary details and the artists, and create the tabernacle. And God said to Moses, and they said to Moses, the people are bringing more than is needed. Everyone wants to contribute. Everyone wants to do something. Their response to the crisis of the golden calf is to everyone do whatever they can to do the right thing. Lasot tikkun, to make an amendment, to bring healing to the rift. Another slide, please. And it ends, והמלאכה הייתה דיים לכל המלאכה, לעשות אותה והותר. There was more than enough. And the more than enough has it's two meanings. One is that they did more than was needed. They did so much it wasn't even needed. But also They did everything that was needed to be done. And when I read these verses today, I think of today's Israeli society, of everything bringing so much to the point that there may be too much, but it's okay. And doing everything they can so the job is done. And it's not done by few. And it's not done by only these people or those people. Everyone together. And that's a huge sense of coming out of the crisis. I want to share with you a poem that was written, and Ami, my dear partner, is going to come and read it in English. You know, Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, Kohelet. You know, Kohelet is attributed to Solomon, King Solomon, and he said there's a time for everything. And Yehuda Amichai, a wonderful poet, said, no, Kohelet was wrong. It's not that you have time for everything. They come together. And יותר עודד מזור, יותר נוח.
Shabbat Shalom. So I'm the Rebbitzin in our family, and I got, from time to time I get specific tasks, and so I said I'll be happy to read a poem. This is a poem that actually Oded Mazo, who's a Reform rabbi in Israel, the son of Yoram Mazo, also a Reform rabbi, wrote, and it reflects both the difficulty that Ayala was speaking of, the difficulty and almost the inability to breathe with everything, with all the pain and the sorrow and worry, and also at the end, some kind of hope. So I'll read just one sentence in Hebrew and then I'll read it in English. בימים בהם כל העיתים קורסות אחת אל תוך רעותה. In the days when each hour collides with the next, my translation would be collapses into the next, we have no choice but to cry and to laugh with the same eyes, to mourn and to dance at the same time. And the long arc of history is compressed into one day and 1 hour. We ask for the strength to contain the intensity of our bursting hearts, to rejoice with those who will be able to embrace today, to unfold all those leaning into their longing, soul trembling, to hold on to hope without letting go, and to leave some quiet space for a silent scream. Please grant us the room to shatter into pieces and the spirit to be rebuilt anew.
תודה. So a few words about rebuilding anew. Please, the next slide, please. This is another expert, another thread that I want to weave into the fabric of my story, of the narrative that I suggest. This is an excerpt from the Scroll of Independence, the founding text of Medinat Yisrael. We appeal to the Jewish people throughout the diaspora to rally around the Jews of Eretz Yisrael, the tasks of immigration and upbuilding, and to stand by them in the great struggle for the realization of the age-old dream, the redemption of Israel. It is so important that in the founding document of the State of Israel, a main principle is the not only camaraderie, but partnership, active partnership between diaspora Jews and the Jews who've decided to live in Israel. Israel relies on the Jews abroad. And it's in our document. Next, please, the next slide. And my last one, and this is where my story ends. Together, we look, we search, we strive to find the spirit to rebuild. And this is a quote from Oded Mazor's poetry. Ruach lehibanot shuv מחדש, and the spirit to be rebuilt anew, together. These words are an appeal and a request and a reminder that we are going through a huge crisis in Israel and a huge crisis, Jewish crisis in diaspora. And we are all together in it. It's Kol Israel Arevim Ze Leze. All of Israel, our guarantor, are the ones to help each other together. Together we will survive the pain. We will learn from the mistakes, hopefully, and we will be rebuilt anew.
Thank you, Rabbi Samuels. I might need my own session to ask questions. We turn to our concluding prayers with the words of Aleinu. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Sounded like I was on, but I was not. So we take time to remember those who are no longer with us, those who touched our lives, who shaped us into who we are, and who are no longer with us. It is our custom here, if you are marking the loss of someone in the period of Shloshim in the last 30 days or a yard site and are here, we invite you to stand if you wish to affirm your presence, even as you affirm their lives through your life each day. In the period of Shloshim, those lost in the last 30 days, we remember Robbie Blitz, Henrietta Dalk, Mara Ria DeFino, Sherry Ann Johnson Kelly, Dale Rochelle Lederer, IDF Staff Sergeant Maoz Moshe Morrill, and Dan Wade. And we mark the yard site, the anniversary of the passing of Florence Abel, Lena Babinko, Ann Barr, R. George Burrell, Judy Biber, Sam Block, Thor Kim Borison, Bernice Brass, Sonia Burke, Sydney Burt Chasky, Robert Sharon, Howard Cooper, Danielle D. Nicola, Herbert Drucker, Charles L. Baum, Morton M. Fox, Ellie Frankel, Joseph Friedlander, Abraham Gallender, Pearl C. Gold, Celia Goldfarb, Dorothy Gordon, Alan Jackson, Samuel James, Sadie Josephs, Craig Kirsch, Stuart Larrick, Louis Elliott Levine, Frank Norman Lewis, Robert Lieberman, Elsie Liss, Ann McDonald, Clara Meiselman, Samuel Mendelson, Dorothy Myers, Stephen Mitchell, Muriel Palanker, Milton Pat, Winnie Ingram Richter, Nettie Rosenthal, Joel Rudick, Thomas Ryan, Dorothy Schilly, William Schultz, Ann Schultz, Celia Gottwert Schwartz, Eva Smilowitz, Paul Spill, Mary Sosnowitz, Joseph Vogel, Stanley Zeskind. If you are remembering someone this Shabbat, we invite you to add their names to our list. Zichronam Levracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. We rise in solidarity with those who mourn. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. V'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
You may be seated. I once again want to thank Rabbi Samuels for her words and her teaching, and Ami Samuels for your guest appearance. Thank you. We have more opportunities to learn with Rabbi Samuels this Shabbat. She will be leading us in Torah study tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., there is a Havdalah with dessert and a question and answer session. If you did not sign up for that, just let me know that you're planning on coming so that we make sure that we have enough seats set up. I also want to let you know that on March 17th, there is a women's wellness fair at 2:30 p.m. We invite you to immerse yourself in a day dedicated to nurturing your body, mind, and spirit. This is hosted by the new Women's Community Initiative here at Temple Beth El. Elevate your well-being and participate in a diverse array of programs, including chair yoga, debunking myths about pelvic health, and smart, healthy food swaps. Explore vendors for more resources, and don't miss a chance to enter the raffle drawing. Registration is required for this event. And right after that, 1 week later, Sunday, March 24th, it's Purim. You are invited to a day filled with Purim and Taylor Swift. Our spiel this year is Esther's Story, Taylor's version. And if you have young children, we also have a craft hour in advance of the Purim spiel with Taylor Swift-themed crafts. That takes place at 10 a.m. The spiel is at 11 a.m. And then we invite everyone to join together with our whole Jewish community over at the JCC for the community-wide Purim Carnival. And while I was not here pre-COVID, they keep telling me it is going back to its greatness pre-COVID. So the Purim Carnival is back in force. So we hope that you will celebrate with us in the coming weeks. And we invite you to join us in our concluding song and then to join with us in the David Silverman Social Hall for our oneg.
Oh, here we go. Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Le'al Kulam. Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Le'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, Salam. Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kulam.
Shabbat Shalom.